Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman Raw. So, people have been loving the return of the Gunman Raw. There's something about spring when, you know, the freezing cold weather sort of slowly goes away and the warm starts coming back. I come out of my hibernation, so always in good spirits and sort of pumped to make bits again. So that's what's happening on my side of things, but yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and it seems like you are. So yeah, try to stick to a video every second day while I can be bothered. So we have a full respray on a Mazda 3 in there, and it's another one of my favorite colors, which is Soulry Crystal. Oh, making a mess. It's slippery on the sides there. It's alright, I can clean it up. I should have probably just mixed it up in a bigger pot. Yeah, so, wet on wet stage. That's what we're going to do first. Yeah, the whole idea of this raw channel is no editing. As soon as I have to edit it, it's not raw footage, and then it's going on the main channel. So, you get what you're given. But I did decide I'd do like maybe 3 or 4 bits on this one car. I thought I'd do a wet on wet stage and then maybe a base coat stage, but we'll see how we go. The wet on wet and base coat, we may be able to mash them into one. Or I may just get halfway through the base coat stage. But yeah, like all these little details are important. Yeah, so the little details of just the way I mix the paint up. Actually, that's probably one of the most important parts. So I mix this is all PPG, G6 primer, but I only put half of the G5 in, right? So I go, instead of 245, I'll put like 120 in, right? But then add the other sort of 120 or whatever, I'll change that to G7. So basically I'm just making it a little bit darker than G6, but I still need it to be lighter than G7. So I call it G6.5. I then add an extra one of these thinners. So there's 2 thinners in it, right? And then the weight of one of them, so I'll put that full amount in, then add an extra 78, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I do put medium thinner in. I'll go double medium and then single accelerated. Anyway, it's all been tack ragged, prep sold, of course masked up, so we are right to go straight down with this wet on wet primal.
Bar or thereabouts. So, and like I say, I did put the extra thinners in, but it makes it nice and thin. Particularly with the amount of coats of paint that you have to put on this. Yeah, you don't want to overload the material per coat, if that makes sense. And another thing, see that? Because this is the wrong colour for the door jamb, so I'm sort of I'm staying back over here so that I don't get that wet on wet primer in the door jamb, or as minimal as possible. Another good thing about putting more thinner in is that it dries faster too, so your flash off times will be lowered. But yeah, basically put this wet on wet down, go mix up, well I've actually already got some mixed up, go put the base coat into the gun and then come straight back in. But when I'm spraying this, I have the boost at 20 degrees. But as soon as I get it down, I'll crank the boost up to 30. So yeah, if you have the boost too hot when you're putting your wet on wet primer, it can sort of sand pile up on you, and it can, like, your overspray will land on the panel that you have not sprayed yet, and then when you go to spray over it, it's sort of it's dry already. So it won't melt in, and then you get what they call sand piling, which is not good. It's just like grit. It's like, yeah, like somebody threw a handful of sand in your paint. Yeah, so we also do these patrols here, bare metal resprays. On the patrols, I don't put extra thinners in because it's bare metal, it's over bare metal, so we've sanded it down with a coarse sandpaper. So I do need that extra fill out of the primer, whereas with this, they've been sanded down with 320 grit, 400 on the edges, and you just don't need that, you know, large filling capability. You may also take note that I'm not spraying the edges. Again, that's because I don't want that colour, that discoloration. But yeah, I have found that this is the perfect colour, the perfect shade. They recommend G5. I tried G6 and G6 is still even a bit too light. I don't know what it is with TPG. They seem to be way off with their primer colour recommendations. Yeah, I'm not talking just a little bit, like they get it way wrong. So like I say, we'll crank the temp up on the roof. Give this gun a quick clean up. Maybe take these out? Yeah. That's my prep guys doing. Getting that primer in, getting that bumper in the primer for me. So after I finish painting now, I'll put the bonnet, bumper, door handles, boot lid, side skirts as well. That's all like go and get just a quick plug through, that's all you need.
I bought my little, what do you call them? Not a sound bar. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. Put that little speaker in, the Bluetooth speaker in. Yeah. So next is this. Should have enough there. Not that due to mix up another back stand on it. Let's give it a shake up. Oh, that's tight. Yeah, if my videos ever just abruptly shut off after 20 or 25 minutes, it's either overheated or the files split. And like I say, if I have to put 2 files into the editor and render it, it's not a raw video anymore. So just little things to make my life easier, I guess. Hectic enough life as it is, to be honest. But what am I doing? Drawing a blank. Not thinking. I was busy talking to you guys. I was getting the wrong pots. So I use the RPS pots for my Basecoat colour. I actually do prefer them over the PPS. They're just cleaner. Like you don't have any of that flaky paint coming off them like you do with the PPS too. But I do still strain them in. Now that's been strained into there, and I'm straining it again. But this is what you'll notice. Even like I say, I mixed it up in a big 2-litre pot, strained it into here, and there will still be more grit coming through. That's just what this Enviro base is like. Oh no, I can't believe I did that. Again, I'm just not paying attention today. A bit embarrassing. I never do that actually. I think mine's done once or twice before. That was relatively easy to fix, clean up. for that to go down, you'll see like more grit, more stuff that got caught in that filter. Let's get on here. Make it a mess, Jenny. Yeah, I'm yet to get a pot grip with these as well, but you do get it occasionally with the PPS. Sometimes what can happen is like you'll put this on, right, and it will push the bag down like that. You won't actually quite notice sometimes, so it's obviously open like that. Yeah, it doesn't happen that often because I'm usually pretty careful, and then you lift it up. Another thing you can do is, like, I don't know if you noticed, sometimes I do that. So if you can feel that that's pressurized, then obviously there's not going to be any leaks. You can do the same thing with these. You can do it just by pushing the top in there or the sides. Because there is a little access hole there. Okay, so let's probably get halfway through the Basecoat stage. That's my Basecoat gun. Got a lovely TV1. They call that olive, strangely. That's what it's called, olive. It doesn't look olive to me. It looks silver. There you go. How good's that? Nice and dry. You can't see the temperature, but it's I definitely feel that it's warmer in here. Now, I did see a couple of bits of dust in the primer. So you do have to be careful when you're doing this because you can make it worse. Like in sanding one bit out, you can leave 5. Like if I'm not careful tack ragging that and blowing it off, yeah, you just make it even worse. There was 1 or 2 tiny ones. I cannot even see them anymore. Oh, tiny. It's barely even. Like I say, I can just leave it. Potential to make it worse. It's just not even worth it. Let's tack rag and blow that other spot off. Maybe it's just because that was so big. You do actually have a pretty decent potential to fill. I just knocked that. Jeez, I'm having a good day today, aren't I? Spilling shit, bumping stuff.
So yeah, full fan, full fluid, and 20 psi. And I've actually been leaving those settings exactly the same, first, second and third coat. So yeah, I've tried lots of different ways of spraying this EnviroBase, but ultimately it's just easier to leave it at the same settings, and you definitely can. So what I will do is, you may notice that the first coat is going a little bit, medium wet, medium to wet, probably closer to wet, if anything. Second coat, closer to medium. And third coat, just you hold off a little bit. Some people like to call it a drop coat. You can call it what you will. I just put it on a little bit drier, move a little bit faster. So I found the second coat is the coat that I use the most material on. Because you may also notice that I'm not spraying the edges on this first coat. Again, because we're putting so many coats on, you really don't want to overload those edges on every coat. When I was new to spraying this colour, I was just sort of programmed, I guess, to spray the edges on each coat, including the wet on wet, but yeah, you're really best off just leaving them. And they're already covered anyway. They've already got colour on there, so they don't need much. You also may have taken note that I didn't put any wet on wet on those edges, so you know I don't have to worry about covering that wet on wet so much. But in saying that, I still do need one coat on there. So that's why the second coat gets the coat on the edges. First coat faces, second coat faces and edges, third coat faces. That's for Basecoat, that is. So simple, isn't it? Yeah, I think one of the keys to being a good painter is just attention to detail and the edges, getting those edges nice and neat, you know. That's one thing I have to train my guy Steve John, the guy I was just pointing to before. You know, get those edges right, man. Get the, you don't want it, you need that masking to be on the seam sealer edge. Sometimes people will sort of have it touching right here. But you end up being left sometimes with an edge that you can just about cut your finger on if you're not careful. So we'll go out for a top up, and as you can see there, look at how fast that's drying. So that's 25% reducer in EnviroBase. They recommend 15%. Don't do it, guys. Well, do what you will, I don't particularly care, but there are better ways out there, I believe, anyway. Hey, if 15% works for you, all power to you, but what I ended up finding is 25% will dry faster, and it will be less chance of drying back on you. One thing that I really didn't like, see there you go, there's, it's actually not that bad, but there is still some grit, even though that has been filtered through on another occasion. Oh, come on, tight. Yeah, like I was saying before, is it's not uncommon for waterborne paint that they will sort of die back, right? You just get over the days and weeks after you paint a job, it will just start pinching up, you know? You lose your gloss, and yeah, so it's not solvent boil, it's I guess, what do you call it? Water boil. That's a weird thing to say. Water boil. It's just dye back is the best thing to call it. So yeah, like I say, when I was thinning it down at 15%, which is what they recommend here in Australia anyway, and I know it's not the case in the rest of the world. Yeah, so if you thin it down to 15%, you'll get lots of dye back. 25%, you will get a lot less dye back. And a big part of that is just the way that it dries. Look at how fast it's drying. So it's kind of properly dry when you clear it, if you know what I mean. When you thin it to 25%, you will lose a little bit of coverage, but it's not that much. It's not that bad. Like, yeah. Again, just do your best to get the shade of primer right. And don't listen to their recommendations on the shade of primer either. Saw another big chunk here. I wonder if sometimes you can just do that, but no, not this time. I've got a bit of sandpaper there. Yeah, I do a lot more of this nowadays than what I used to. Nibbing the base coat or the primer, if you need it. If you don't need to, perfect. But if you need to do it, you need to do it. Oh. So, what I do like to do
if I ever do have to sand it, so that's 1,200 or 1,200 a grit. If I ever do have to do that, I like to get a wet coat over it and then just carry on. Yeah. Alright, second coat.
Like I say, second coat, pressure, everything stays the same. Don't adjust the gun. It kind of makes it easier too. And then, so you're going for coverage, but we're doing the edges. Notice that? Edges and faces. You see? That's pretty much covered after your second coat. So, if I had have used their recommended G5, I would have had to have put this base coat on heavier to get coverage. Yeah, and obviously that would lead to, you know, some potential dieback because you have put more base coat on. That is absolutely necessary. Take longer to dry, more chance of it drying back. Yeah. Just a quick one over the edges. The main thing you're trying to do with this on your edges is just to hide that primer edge, because you know you might get a little bit of that primer creeping in there. That's the main thing you're trying to get rid of, just to make sure that there's, yeah, a bit of metallic on there. Nice and fast, nice big fan on it. Yeah, they're bringing out a new additive for the EnviroBase that they reckon turns it into a one visit system, kind of like the Stando Blue and Chromax Pro Basecoat. Yeah, I believe it's yeah, slowly starting to be rolled out, so that's sort of, I guess, not really exciting. Yeah, if I have to stick with this, it doesn't really bother me. Yes, it takes a little bit longer, but you know, one drawback about the one visit systems is that they can take a long time to dry between, yeah, base coat to clear. So what I ended up finding is, depending on where you're working, like some people just say, oh, use air blowers, but depending on where you're working, well, I found actually most boots, you can have, like this was a brand new boot when I moved in, but it doesn't take long for dust to sort of accumulate and overspray to accumulate. And yeah, what my point being that once you start blowing your base coats, you can end up just making the job worse. You blow dust into them. You blow dust into the job more often than not. And especially on a big job like this, by the time you air blow every single spot, you would have been better off just giving it a quick 5-minute fake. Yeah. So, yeah, I may not even use that one visit system that they're supposedly releasing soon. But yeah, so after this, go out. Well, obviously one more coat of base coat. Like I say, we do have to put 3 down. After this, I will mix up the candy, and we'll be doing 2 coats of candy. So that will be the next video. I reckon I might have had COVID. Like, it's going around. I reckon I might be to the point where I'm getting asymptomatic COVID. I just got like a slight tickle in the throat, but it's like nothing. Last night I was sweating my ass off, but I didn't feel bad, if you know what I mean. But I do know that COVID's going around. That's why I'm sort of saying it. Well, I've got superpowers, mate. Nearly immune to COVID. Yeah, my colleague out there, Chief John, he was off all week last week, so it's just me all week. Poor guy, it hit him hard, man. Hit him hard. Another friend of mine, he got it too, recently. Oh, yeah, who knows, who knows. Is that going to be enough? I reckon it will. Are we ready for our last coat? Pretty much. Still a touch wet in spots. But like I say, look at how fast it dries. You can just use the air from your spray gun sometimes. But like I say, it is nice and warm, 30 Celsius, which I think that'd be what, like 70, 72?
What do you do, add 32 or something?
Something like that. For the Fahrenheit, for you Americans. God bless America. So yeah, this one here, I hold the gun back a bit. See that? And any muscle just disappears. So you don't want to go too dry. So it's just what I'm doing. Just do that. What else can I say? Just do what I'm doing. Part of the reason I'm squeezing this in now is because I reckon we're going to run out of video footage. Probably up around the 25-minute video, 25-minute mark already. Just beautiful. Have a look at that, mate. Like, you cannot fault that. The best base coat gun on the market. Easy. It's actually less important with Stando Blue. I sprayed Stando Blue for years, and I never found a gun that does not spray it with ease. There's just more a way that you have to spray it than a gun that you have to spray it with, if that makes sense. So that's it, guys. I hope the camera's still rolling. Sometimes it shuts off and overheats.
And we also must be past the time. No, well, we're still rolling. 29 minutes, yeah. I'm probably talking to no one now. Yeah, I think it generally shuts off after 25 minutes, so I might even just quickly throw this one in the editor for what it's worth, because I guess it'd be good to just cover everything in one video, like wet on wet and base coat. So I probably will. I'll just render it down to a lower video setting than 4K, so it doesn't take up too much time for me. Yeah, I'll just whack it on and do something else. So as you can see, it's still wet. That will dry down. There'll be no mottle left. And the next video is going to be the candy stage. So stay tuned for that, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy 30 minutes of the Gunman Raw. Yeah, boy. Gotta love it. That's the gun, DV1 base coat 1.3 B+, and you can even tell just by the way that it's building up on the sides evenly that it's spraying well. Anyway, see you in the next one. Gunman out.